This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another lesson to the power and spirit of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, call Halayam, La Alahayanawa, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakaha Kodash. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more than ever for this truth. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites who looks like the other nations, but are Israel through their forefatherly lineage. And shalom unto the very few but faithful Akowats, which is the sisters. Alright? So, the name of this lesson is, this is a part 3 to, alright, this is the continuation of this of the series that I said I will be embarking on. This is part 3. Hopefully there will be 2 more parts thereafter. Alright, the name of this lesson is Sleazy Evil Agenda, the King Alfred Plan. Alright? Sleazy Evil Agenda, part 3, the King Alfred Plan. If you so-called Negroes who is in this truth, the younger brothers and sisters, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, Caribs, Arawaks, alright, Taínos, Aztecas, Mayans, Incas, alright, these people groups who make up the 12 tribes of Israel, the biological descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, alright, the new ones who are now waking up to this truth. If you have no knowledge of the King Alfred Plan, I highly suggest that you go and do your research. Alright? Now, the King Alfred Plan came into play. Alright, it is an executive order. Alright? Now, when you study executive orders, these are orders that had been instituted or being instituted, because you still have executive orders that is being pushed in this so-called 2021. Alright? But executive orders are presidential orders that is being signed into play, being signed into I wouldn't say law, alright, but being signed into play by the President of the United Snakes of America, alright, that goes against the Constitution and what the Constitution stands for, that was written when America had gotten independence. Alright? So now the thing is, this King Alfred Plan, alright, it had been signed into play since in the 60s. Since in the 60s, during the the Jim Crow era, but also it had another name for it. Another name for it. This was during the time of this guy Martin Lucifer King, All right, Martin Luther King, aka Martin Lucifer King, and and um and Malcolm X and these guys. All right, it had been this executive order of the King Alfred plan was signed into play by the president at that time, the administration at that time, which was Lyndon Baines Johnson in the 60s. All right, because you had to understand during that period of time, all right, us so-called Negroes, even the Native Americans and the Hispanics, all right, we was going through a lot. Still to this day, but you know that was the real height of our struggles and what have you. I'm still trying to, as I'm speaking, I'm still trying to remember the name of that era. All right, but you know, at the height of our struggles at that time, you know, fighting for social, fighting against social injustice and for so-called equality and what have you, which that was going off, all right, and what have you. At that time, at that period in time, you had a lot of rioting, a lot of protesting, all right, and what have you, where Jakes was rising up against the so-called white man. Yeah? So, they know coming down to this time here now, things would start to evolve even more. Right? Especially where their new world order is concerned. And, you know, they do not want any hindrance within their new world order and all these things. You know, and they trying to get back their blessing. All right? That birthright, which was never theirs anyway, the so-called white man. All right? So they, over the years, had conjured up plans, means, and ways to always entrap Jake. You know, put drugs in the communities, guns, and all these things in the communities. All right? And then send the police officers to lock up Jake. All right? So Jake could be entrapped in the system, in the prison houses, you know, and there where the slavery of our people will continue in an institutional form. All right, hence the reason why you have the 13th Amendment, and they will never ever done away with the 13th Amendment, because the 13th Amendment was made and directed at us. Go and research what the 13th Amendment is about. All right, so they came about with this King Alfred plan, and the thing about it is, all right, which goes into the Project Megiddo and what have you, and the thing about it is, if you Jakes, as we always keep on telling you, so-called Negroes and Hispanics, all right, if you Jakes only come to the realization of who you truly are as a people, yeah, who you truly are as a people and nation, all right, and whatnot, so forth, you all will understand what the so-called white man has in store for you. But you see, the thing is, you all such in a dilapidated state of mind that you all don't even have the slightest idea what is coming for you all throughout the four corners of the earth where the so-called white man is concerned. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. It reads, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So we are following this. The Hebrew Israelites started with the men of Great Millstone, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, to the younger brothers downward, and to the brothers who preaching and teaching the likewise doctrine. We tend to take heed to this instruction of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai very strongly. Because you see, we seeing down the tunnel what is up for you guys. Alright? But you guys not seeing it. You guys don't have the slightest clue. Let me see, somewhere in Proverbs, I think it's Proverbs 21, yeah? Or 22, I think it was Proverbs 22 and 3. Right? Proverbs 22 and 3. A prudent man, which is a wise man, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Alright? So when we warn you all, if you're wise enough, alright, to foresee the evil that is coming headlong, alright, you will hide yourself under the shadow and the wings of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Alright? But if you are a foolish man and pass on this warning and want to stick in your religion and your philosophies and all these wickedness that is not of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, death is going to be knocking on your door. I have something to show for you to get the brighter picture of this whole King Alfred plan, aka Rex 84.
He seems to be a little disgruntled, but when you got people like that supporting the white agenda, you know, it makes you wonder. They might be able to put somebody who looks black in the Oval Office. It says, at the discretion of the president, King Alfred is to be put into action when? In other words, when the president of the United States, not Congress, not the House, not the Senate, not the House of Representatives, not the Senate, when the president declares this emergency, it's to be implemented immediately. Participating federal agencies, what are they? National Security Council, what else? Central Intelligence Agency, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, Department of Interior. Participating state agencies, what are they? National Guard units, state police. Participating local agencies are what? City police and county police, that's right. Now, one of the things you need to understand, brothers, let me make this notation before we read further. In addition to the law enforcement agencies that we just mentioned, in 1982, there was a guy named Oliver North. Y'all have heard of him, right? Oliver North and Ronald Reagan got together, and the two of them amended the King Alfred plan. And their amendment became known as Rex 84 because it was signed by Ronald Reagan in 1984. Now, the original plan was signed by Lyndon Baines Johnson, but Ronald Reagan amended it to include the Hispanic population. Originally, it was, what we're going to read, it was just written for blacks. But in 1984, Oliver North and Ronald Reagan amended it to include the Hispanic and Latino population. What's really deep, brothers and sisters, is this. The neo-Nazi groups, this is all a part of the amendment in 1984. The neo-Nazi groups in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, along with state militia groups, like the Missouri militia, the Michigan militia, the Minnesota militia, all of these white paramilitary groups that have their training grounds out in the woods and stuff that y'all, I'm sure y'all know about that, right? I hope you know about that. Well, the amendment in 1984 was written to include insurgency. And all of these other groups will be deputized by the federal government to round up blacks and Hispanics for encampment.
Okay, I will continue with the video, but I just want to say this. Now you have to understand this. You have to understand this here. They put their things, they put their stuff, their subliminal messages in their movies and what have you. Now, as you heard, the guy said this is Ray Higgins. All right, the man on screen here, Ray Higgins. You have to understand this here. When you watch the movie, the first Purge, which was Purge 4, all right? When you watch that movie, and there was a part in the movie where the elites who orchestrated the Purge and commenced the Purge and what have you, first thing first, where was the Purge taking place? The Purge was taking place in Staten Island. What race of people occupies Staten Island? You so-called Negroes and Hispanics. All right? Now, when the Purge wasn't going as predicted, what did the government official, one of the government official, the main driver, that individual, the so-called white man, that so-called white individual, all right, what did he do? He called in the militias. All right? He called in the militias. The militias to start with, to ante up the Purge. All right? And as you could see, the militia, they started to go around in all the neighborhoods. Because the militias, they were on high alert, they were on standby waiting for that call. And when they got that call, they make sure and came and executed the orders, which was what? Killing out you jakes by the hundreds. All right? They even went in the church house. Yeah? Where you jakes looking to flee for succor, which is help. All right? To say you would weather out the storm in the house of Jesus. Right? But how come your Jesus didn't protect you in the church? Where they did what? They massacred it. Nearly every single man jack in that church, excepting for two individuals who was hiding, which was two Hispanic females. All right? Because everybody in the church who was hiding to weather out the storm of the Purge that night was what? Was so-called Negroes. They've been putting this thing in their subliminal messages in their movies for decades upon decades, in what is their intent? To wipe you so-called Negroes and Hispanics and Native Americans off the face of the map. Because why? They know that we are the children of Israel. Continuing with the video.
This is not good news, brothers and sisters. I'm not here to make you feel good today. I'm here to make you aware today. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Now, brothers and sisters, if y'all are thinking for a moment that there's going to be worldwide empathy or sympathy for us, don't think that. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say that, y'all. Because y'all remember when James Baker was Secretary of State? Yes. Well, James Baker developed a policy with Russia and Canada. These other governments have created what's called a United States European base to exterminate blacks and Latinos in Africa, South America, the East and West Indies, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. I mean, they're working. Why? Why are we targeted?
I will answer that question for you, Ray Higgins. Why are we targeted? It is because they know that we are the children of Israel. That's why we are targeted. They know who we are. Every other race upon the face of the earth knows who we are excepting us. All right? They know who we are. That's why we are targeted. And that's why they all form that alliance. That's why all these other races had formed that alliance. All right? That they will not come to our help when Rex 84 is being carried out with the extermination of us so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They would not come to your help. If you think that you're going to get worldwide media recognition, if you so-called Negroes think you're going to get worldwide media recognition and social media and people feeling sorry for you and what have you, you're sadly mistaken. Because they know that the kingdom of heaven is for the nation of Israel. The rulership, the everlasting rulership that is coming upon the face of the earth with Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly and stupidly calls Jesus Christ. All right? He will have total dominion over the face of the earth with his people, his nation right under. All right? And we are going to get rulership. They know this. So that's why they came. They are about with their nefarious plans. All right? Let's go to scripture and come back to the video. This is the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. It reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity." All right? That devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. All right? Which goes into the what, as others always say, the crafty counsels. The G20 summit. Yeah, the summit of the Americas. All right? The UN summit and all these things. All right? Where they devise the iniquity in how to exterminate the children of Israel and what have you, and for their nefarious New World Order plans. When the morning is light, they practice it, which means when the time is right, they put it into play, because it is in the power of their hands. Now, you heard the guy, Ray Higgins, mention something that if you think you're going to get help when this Rex 84 is being carried out, you're sadly mistaken. All right? Because all these nations, they came under one banner. All right? To eliminate Jake through the four corners of the earth, because Jake, the children of Israel, all right, has been scattered through the four corners of the earth. So let's go to Psalms 83. Let's go to Psalms 83 to prove something. And I will start at verse 1. Psalms 83 and 1, it reads, "Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult." All right? This is not where the Christian church teaches that lying doctrine that the spiritual being Satan is the enemy of the Most High God. No. This is speaking about particular nations, particular race of people. This is what it is speaking about. "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee," right, that hate Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and hate his people, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Right? They have taken crafty counsel, which we had read in Micah 2:1, against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? The children of Israel. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. This is the agenda. All right? And they thought that they had succeeded with it. They thought that they had succeeded with it by putting us into slavery and wiping our nationality and everything away from us. Hence the reason now we call ourselves by proverbs and bywords as a Trinidadian, as a Jamaican, as a Haitian, all right, as a Bajan, as a African American, and Puerto Rican, and all these things, all these names that goes after the so-called white man, when the white man put upon you, you so-called Negroes call yourselves. Because why? Your remembrance of who you truly are, it has been taken away from you. All right? But now that we're waking up, they're looking to speed ahead with an even greater diabolical plan, which is to just kill us out and done. All right? That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. All right? They all have consented with one consent. All right? Under one agreement. All right? No matter what squabble we may have amongst each other and what have you, let us all still have that agreement to wipe the children of Israel off the face of the earth. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles or the houses or the races, the tabernacles of Edom, which is first on the list, the so-called white man. Yeah? The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, which is our second main enemy, which is those Arabs, those Muslims, all right? Yeah, who residing over there in the so-called Middle East, all right? The so-called white man is the first enemy, and the second is those stinking Arabs of Moab, which is those so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which is a band of those stinking Africans. All right, Gibal, another band of Africans, and Ammon, yeah, those stinking Japanese, and Amalek. All right, so you see the so-called white man, he's mentioned twice in this list of nations that hate the children of Israel, all right, and come with the crafty counsel. All right, Amalek is those false Jews, those fake Jews who took over our land and our heritage, our nationality. And the Philistines, all right, another band of Africans, but who is being called the Philistines now? These stinking Arabs. With the inhabitants of Tyre, another band of Africans, all right, and somehow I feel the nation of Tyre today is those, I'm just speaking as a man, but somehow, through the Spirit, I feel the people of Tyre is who you know today in northern Nigeria, all right, as the Hausa Fulani. Because the Hausa Fulani, they have a bitter hatred for the children of Israel who is residing at the south of Nigeria, which is the Igbos and the Yoruba. All right, in Yoruba land and Biafra land, respectively. All right. Ashur, which is the Assyrians, also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, Selah. All right. So these is the people groups, along with all the other races, that has an agenda to wipe us off the face of the map. Now, as you could read as I heard the guy said, back then in the 60s, the plan was only for the so-called Negroes. But in 1984, Ronald Reagan, he amended it and included the Hispanics. Because why? They know that the Hispanics are the northern kingdom of Israel, whilst us so-called Negroes are the southern kingdom of Israel. They know. Let's continue.
Think about that. Let's finish reading the memo here. Memo from the National Security Council. Y'all see it? Notice what it says. Even before 1954, when the Supreme Court of the United States of America declared unconstitutional separate educational and recreational facilities, racial unrest and discord had become very nearly a part of the American way of life. But that way of life was repugnant to most Americans. Since 1954, however, that unrest and discord have broken out into widespread violence, which increasingly have placed the peace and stability of the nation in dire jeopardy. This violence has resulted in loss of life. Y'all remember the riots in the 60s, right? Okay, this violence has resulted in loss of life, limb, and property, and has cost the taxpayers of this nation billions of dollars, and the end is not yet in sight. This same violence has raised the tremendously grave question as to whether the races can ever live in peace with each other. Each passing month
could never live in peace. Genesis 25. Let me see if I could get it. I will just go straight to the point here. This is Genesis 25:22, and the children, all right, struggled together within her womb, within her, and said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, which was Rebekah, all right, going to inquire to our prophet, all right. Verse 23, the point here, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, which is, right, two different races are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So it will never have peace between us and the so-called white man. Alright, because this is prophecy. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put it so. Alright? We are not to mix and mingle with the so-called white man and be friends with the so-called white man. Alright? And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, which is us being stronger than the so-called white man. It is evidently true. And the elder shall serve the younger. Alright, who is the elder? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So let's go back to the video quick.
Has brought new intelligence. Now check this out. That despite new laws passed to alleviate the condition of the minority still is not satisfied. Now who y'all think the minority is here? Black folk, right?
Yeah, you know, they find we look how much we're doing, you know, look how much we're doing for you all and whatnot, and you all still. They just show you the so-called white man. Hey, they just show you the so-called white man, you know. The audacity of what they think and how they see you so-called Drakes. To this day in their constitution, you so-called Negroes, yeah, especially you so-called Negroes, you are still being considered 3/5 a man. But it's okay. It's alright.
Demonstrations and rioting have become a part of the familiar scene. Troops have been called out in city after city across the land, and our image as a world leader severely damaged. Our enemies press closer, seeking the advantage possibly at a time during one of these outbreaks of violence.
All right. Now, this is because we see what's going on with them. They are frightened. That's why they put in these things, these measures into play. It is not because of the Black Panther and whatnot, this, that. It is because really of us, the Hebrew Israelites, because we are the ones that waken up the nation of Israel to who they truly are. And we are waking up through all the 4 corners of the earth. So hence the reason why they make that pact. Right? Hence the reason why they make that pact with all these other nations, all right, for when the King Alfred plan is being commenced, that the other nations will follow in line, follow to suit to wipe us off. Because why? We are waking up. We are becoming that great and exceeding army as prophesied in Ezekiel 37.
The minority has adopted an almost military posture to gain its objectives.
And that's why they're talking that bag. They're coming with the lying words and the false and not false flag. No, gosh, they're trying to entrap us. All right, they're trying to entrap us with all sorts oh gosh, well, false flag, yes. All right, like the latest one with the guy we plow through the people and what have you, where they're saying he was one of us and what have you. That's like the Boston bombings about a year or 2 years back or something to that effect. Hey, it's no problem. It's no problem, Esau, because all your plans and all what you're doing is going to come off naught. All right? This is Isaiah 62. Isaiah 62 and 6. I'm going to go to it. Isaiah 62 and 6. It reads, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. And this is what we're doing. All right? We out there, we are the watchmen. The prophets out there are the watchmen. And we out there pushing the truth and exposing Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, of all their plans, all the nefarious plans and wickedness that they have in store. All right? And they do not like it. All right? And give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. All right? Yeah? Yeah, so this is why they are frightened. And this is why they're putting these measures into place. Yeah? When you go to Isaiah, it's Isaiah 29, boy. Let me see. Isaiah 29 and I think 20 or 21. Yeah, Isaiah 29 and 20, it reads, all right, for the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word. All right, because we talking the truth, because we preaching the truth. All right, you all are putting all sorts of measures in place and legislations in place and what have you, to say that we're bringing about hate speech and all these bag of shit. All right, so you can be justified in what you're going to do to us. All right, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. All right? Esau, boy, Esau, the so-called white man.
Which are not clear to who? To most Americans. Now, in other words, look at the person next to you and say, evidently, the minority and Americans are two different groups of people. In this document, anyway, when it says the minority has adopted an almost military posture, they're talking about the organization like the Black Panther Party. You follow what I'm saying? The Black Panthers stood out there in the free world. That's some serious programming. Now, of course, it says 22 million members, y'all, and that's because that was the amount of blacks in the country been divided into for the purpose of implementing their plan. In case of emergency, notice what it says. Minority members. What people? Minority members. Now again, this has been amended in 1984 to also include Hispanics now and white sympathizers. Minority members will armored units, local and state police, and if necessary, by regular units of the armed forces using public and military transportation. Read it now. What does it say? And detained in nearby military installations until a further course of action has been decided. Brothers and sisters and...
All right. So let's go to the scriptures now. That what is speaking about there is that last part there. That is something that George Bush Senior he signed that into play, you know, where they would mobilize the military and what have you to come and take Jakes and put them into concentration camps and what have you. All right. And this is the thing we have been warning you all and telling you all what is coming. All right, but you Jake still want to be in mirth. You still want to be in merry, in la la land. All right. Here the so-called white man have a agenda to wipe you all off the face of the map, you know. And we telling you all these things, and yet still you all don't want to hear us. But it's not a problem, man. This is Ezekiel 35:1. It reads, "Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir," which is actually Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, their governmental structure, and their elites. Most importantly, their elites. "And prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord." All right? The so-called white man is going to get cut down by Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. All right? Verse 5, "Because thou hast had a perpetual," when you go into the word perpetual, it means everlasting, never ending. All right? "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel." All right? But when we come out speaking the truth, our own people want to come up against us, and why we must be, you know, coming up against the so-called white man. You see, you niggas sick in your head. By the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right? You still carried out your persecution against us, even after you had so-called end slavery. You still persecuted us. Jim Crow, gentrification, all right, false imprisonment, all these things, lynching, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Your police brutality. We're still being persecuted by you so-called white people to this day. All right, and you guys hold yourself not accountable, as the scripture said. But don't worry. Verse 6, "Therefore as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, seeing thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and will cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men in thy hills and in thy valleys, and all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword," which is everywhere where you so-called white people dwell. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai is going to put you all to death in the worst way. You all think you all touch the scripture talk, you all touch, he that toucheth you touch the apple of his eye. You all touch the apple of the Lord's eye, which is the children of Israel, and you all think you all going to get away with it. You all built a whole empire, a whole world empire, by the blood, sweat, and tears of the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right? And still we get no thanks for it, and still we being persecuted. Still we are the bottom of the barrel, and you guys think that, you know, no judgment will pass. Right? Verse 9, "And I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, these two nations," which is what? The southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, and these two countries, which is what? the nation of the country of Israel, our homeland, and America, which he had stolen, all right, from the northern kingdom, the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben and what have you, along with the rest of the northern kingdom tribes that he have killed out throughout the islands, in Cuba, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Hispaniola, which is now today Haiti and Dominican Republic. All right, you went all through the four corners of the earth shedding blood, especially upon the children of Israel. All right? Yeah? Yeah, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, even I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known amongst them when I have judged thee. All right? When he have judged you. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate. Look at these niggers. Yeah, look how we had these niggers now. Yeah? They are nothing. And we will continue to trample upon them and use them and abuse them. Yeah? They are given us to consume. Yeah? We had them in our hands now. We could do what we want with these niggers and these spicks and these wetbacks. These are the things the so-called white man has been saying. Especially these elites. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and whatnot. The faces that you don't see. Alright? Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith Yahweh power. When the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. And as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of the children of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, the so-called white man, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Yeah? This is what's coming. Alright? This is what's coming. This is Isaiah 59 and Isaiah 59. Isaiah 59 and I think is 19. It reads, so shall the face, Isaiah 59 and 19. Alright. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west. Alright. And his glory from the rising of the sun, which is the east. And the west is talking about over here in the western hemisphere. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up his standard against him. Alright, because there is going to come, when you go to Revelation 12 and 12. Quick scripture, Revelation 12 and 12, it reads what? Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil, which is the so-called white man, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. But Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to lift up that standard against them. Alright? Certain brothers is going to get what? Spiritual powers and what have you. Alright? Days where you know is going to see a Superman and your Hulks and your Brightburn. Yeah? And your Cyclops and what have you. Where you feel that the Stan Smith and Stan Smith, whatever his name was, the man who makes Spider-Man and Marvel, where you feel they get all these things from? It's from the Bible. It's from the Bible they get it from. Alright? Because they know the elect, the 144,000 men that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to choose 12,000 out of each tribe. The elect men is going to get that spiritual power. Alright? Is going to be having those such spiritual powers. Alright? They know it. That's why they are frightened. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. The next scripture that come to my head. 2nd Ezra 16. Not 60, it's 69. Alright. I will start from verse 70. 2nd Ezra 16 and 70. It reads, For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like mad men, sparing none. This is going to come upon the children of Israel. Alright? Where the enemy will come in like a flood. Alright? And there's going to be like mad men, sparing none, but spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Alright? The persecution is about to come upon us. Yeah? They're going to be like mad men. Alright? Almost finished. About 3 more scriptures. Alright, Sirach 11 and 16. Sirach 11 and 16. It reads, Error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and evil shall be waxed old with them that glory within them. Yeah? Error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, which is the so-called white man, and even 2/3 in you Israelites. And evil shall wax old with them that glory within them. Alright? And days where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua is going to be justified when he destroys your ass. Alright? Sirach 19. Sirach 19 and 25. There is an exquisite subtlety, and the same is unjust. And there is one that turneth aside to make judgment appear, and there is a wise man that justifieth in judgment. There is a wicked man that hangeth down his head sadly, but inwardly he is full of deceit, casting down his countenance and making as if he had heard not. Where he is not known, he will do thee a mischief before thou be aware. And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, yet when he findeth opportunity he will do evil. A man, right? Right? And yet when he findeth opportunity he will do evil. Yeah? That's why when I go to Proverbs 26 and 25, alright? When he speak, Proverbs 26 and 25, when he speaketh fear, believe him not. When he speaketh nice and sweet smooth words, believe him not. For there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be shewed before the whole congregation, because why? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua is exposing him. Jeremiah 49 and 10. Alright? Lamentations. The book of Lamentations. Where is it? 4:21. It reads, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, which is the so-called white man. Rejoice and have your time now. Enjoy your time now. That dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass unto thee. What cup is that? Slavery. Because just as how we went into slavery, besides the so-called white man, all you other nations is going into slavery. Thus says the Lord. I'm just the messenger. Don't hate me. Hate the man that sent the message, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Alright? The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, which is us. Right? He will no more carry thee away into captivity, which is slavery. This is our last slavery here. This slavery is our last. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So live it up. Live it up. Live it up. Oh, what did? Last scripture, which is the book of Psalms. Psalms 59 and 1. It reads, Deliver me from the iniquity of thine, Psalms 59 and 1. Deliver me from thine enemies, O my power. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are guarded against me, not for my transgressions, nor for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake to help me, and behold. Thou therefore, O Yahweh, power of hosts, the power of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. Selah. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog and go round about the city. Behold, they belch out of their mouths. Swords are in their lips. For who say they, do it there, do it here? Right? They think that nobody in hearing them. They think that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua not seeing them. This is how stupid the so-called white man is. But thou, O Yahweh power, shall laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Kal halayam la alahayanawa Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai Ba'asham Rakaha Kodash. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the brothers preaching and teaching the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more than ever on the highways and on the byways. Shalom unto the speckled Israelites who looks like the other nations but are Israel through their forefatherly lineage. And shalom unto the very few but faithful Akoats. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp in Trinidad, signing out, saying shalom and death to Esau Edom. Shalom.